Daniel Erspamer is the executive director of the Pelican Institute. He's in Shreveport for a variety of things, mostly to convince people that the legislature shouldn't raise taxes anymore. First of all, welcome to Kiel.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Second of all, let's start with a little background. Pelican Institute, tell us about that and how you got associated with these guys.
Absolutely. The Pelican Institute is Louisiana's free market think tank. So our job is to make the case for free market, free enterprise policies that bring jobs and opportunity back to the state, that lower the tax burden and really give a pathway to prosperity for everyone across the state.
Let's start here, since we are in the midst of this like special session 3.0, and that's only this year. And it's a question that I ask all the politicians that came on. Anyway, what I say is, especially the ones who are the proponents of the increased sales tax, the renewal, or depending on how you want to phrase it. My question usually is, so, are Louisianans undertaxed? What do you think about that?
The answer is unequivocally no. The governor and others have gone around the state quoting this study from the Tax Foundation that says we're the fifth lowest tax burden in the state. Well,
in the country.
In the country, excuse me. What they don't tell you is that's a number from 2012. Wow. A more recent study from Wallet Hub suggested we're the 27th highest tax burden in the country.
I saw a figure yesterday that just screamed at me, and I want people to hear it clearly. A half a penny sales tax cost us how many jobs?
Half a penny sales tax, based on our model, suggests a loss of 2,800 jobs and $173 in decline in our gross domestic product.
How do you get to that figure?
So this is based on something called a dynamic scoring model. It gets super wonky with the economists get in there, but basically that's right. This is the same model that the Congressional Budget Office uses and the federal government uses to score any policies. And so what it says, right, if you increase taxes, that always has consequences. And so what we try to do with this model is say, all other things being equal, what happens if we raise taxes? And the numbers don't lie. It's a significant loss in jobs and GDP when we're already having a hard time.
Barry Irwin with Cable told us yesterday that nobody's been screaming about this penny sales tax. You haven't heard a furor over it. And why are we all of a sudden hearing and they want to call it a tax reduction now? I know you disagree.
I sure do. Look, when you say we're going to end a tax, that's the law. That's the law of the land. If you're going to increase it from that, that's a tax increase. Everyone agrees with that. And if folks inside the Capitol are saying they're not hearing people screaming, they are not out in the state listening to folks. The message is clear as I travel around the state, and I hear it from state reps who actually get out of that building and go talk to their constituents. People don't want any more taxes. They're struggling enough.
We're paying sales tax in our community. If you go to Bossier today, Daniel, while you're here, it's 11%. If you want to buy a cheeseburger, if you want to buy a car or a boat, 11%. There's nowhere in the country you pay that high a sales tax, correct?
That's right. It's the highest in the country.
And our budget keeps growing.
It does. Look, we have systematic problems in our government, right? I mean, the problem du jour is ever increasing spending and a tax debate, but ultimately this is a structural problem that requires really fundamental change. We've got to answer the question: are we for the status quo that keeps getting us in this very same fight, the special sessions that never end, or do we want a new vision for Louisiana that actually asks the question: how do we bring jobs and opportunity back?
So when you talk about that new vision, and it's something we talk about all the time, and that leads us to, well, this is protected, or that's protected, or we can't touch this, or this can't change, or this is just how we do it. And then it all seems to come back to constitutional convention.
It sure does.
What do you think about that?
Look, the Constitutional Convention has a ton of risk associated with it, but walking the halls of that Capitol and traveling the state, I am absolutely convinced it's the only way to actually get the kind of change that's necessary.
Pardon me, and you can continue, there are conservative legislatures, Seabaugh among them, who will say that a constitutional convention, that the legislature itself could take care of the budgetary allocating and problems that face Louisiana. Do you agree with that? And then back to your Constitutional Convention answer.
I do. Alan is absolutely right. They could, but they don't. And look, it's not an attack on the people. There are good men and women there who are really trying to do a good job. But the fact of the matter is our system is broken. Good, common sense pieces of legislation and policy ideas that would have do have broad consensus continue to fail time and time again because the system is fundamentally broken.
Let me ask you this, Daniel. The budget that the governor has signed, now he's talking about cutting out the SNAP benefit program, 30% cut to tops. If we have another one of those stalemates in the legislature and they go home and don't accomplish anything in terms of bringing in more revenue like they say they want to do, the governor says he wants to do.
Like they got to do.
Do we really cut out the SNAP benefit program?
No, I don't think so. Look, I don't disagree that there's hard decisions to be made. And with any spending item from taxpayer dollars, there's always a group of people who care passionately about that spending item. The question we have to ask is, what are the things that we have broad consensus that the government ought to do? I think you'd find that administering the SNAP program probably has pretty broad consensus around the state. So I think this is just one in a line of scare tactics from nursing homes to prisoners to everybody else.
LSU football, maybe.
LSU football, that's right. No kickoff this year. It's just, it's hard to wrap your head around.
Why does a governor do that?
To get his way. Look, there's y'all know this well. The governor is used to getting his way in the state of Louisiana, right? That's just the way it's always been. And I think y'all both know, I've heard you say it before, that's the way it's always been is what's killing our state. We really have to do things differently. And it's just the way it's been done. And so I think that's the way it continues to be done.
When the half a penny comes out, what is it, half a penny for 7 years comes out of the Senate? What is it, quarter of a penny comes, third of a penny? Quarter of a penny for 5 years comes from the House. Is it a done deal that some sort of new sales tax is going to happen, or is that Alan Seabaugh, Dodie Horton, Conrad Appel, is that sort of what the governor calls, and we admiringly refer to as the caucus of no? Do they have enough influence to sort of gum things up? And I mean that in a good way.
Absolutely. I think it's highly likely a sales tax increase passes. I will say that. And let's not let people get away when you get reps on here and others with calling it a revenue increase. The folks around town know this is a tax increase. Let's not.
Please,
there's a euphemism that they've started using as revenue. It sounds pleasant. The only chance I think it has to gum up the works is if it comes over to the Senate and they start to pile on a bunch of stuff that just won't pass the House.
The Black Legislative Caucus, the Black Legislative Black Caucus,
Legislative Black Caucus,
made up of African Americans. Are they going to, despite their loyalty to the Democrat Party, are they going to mess up John Bell the way they did a couple of weeks ago?
It's hard to predict. Several of the leadership of the caucus,
they are adamant about that income tax increase.
They are. We heard from Representative James at one point just a couple days ago that they will not vote for the 0.4 of a penny increase. They will only vote for the half a penny increase, and maybe if it has some extra things on it. So I wish I could predict that one for you, but I just don't know.
It is not beyond the realm of possibility. It's not beyond possibility that John Bell's comrades could end up messing this up.
It is nothing beyond the realm of possibility these days.
On the way out, tell us more about the Pelican Institute, how people can find out more and get in touch.
Thanks. I appreciate that. You can go to our website, www.pelicaninstitute.org. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We'd love to have you engaged in the conversation. We're going to come together and turn the state around.